Hello, cheapskaters. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. And I'd like to say welcome to our channel. If this is your first time visiting, I'm really happy to meet you. I hope you decide to stay. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. I'm really glad you decided to join us tonight. Now, live chat is turned on and it should be one side of me. Well, everything's in reverse. You just need to be logged into your YouTube or Gmail account. YouTube, call it a channel. If you don't have either of those, don't panic. You can leave a comment or ask a question in the comments box below me. Now, as usual, I'll give everyone a little time to catch up because some clocks run a bit slow. Some people get caught up with kids or cleaning up the kitchen or just racing in the door from something. So we'll give everyone a chance to catch up. And I will go up here and say we've got 40 people watching already. Great. Can I get 40 thumbs up, please? That would really make me so happy. All right, now Barb was first in. I saw her pop up earlier. Hello, Barb. I'm sorry you're in pain. That's no good. And same with Yvonne. Pain is, it's pain, isn't it? I had Wayne all in the dither last night because the pain in my pain was at a point where I was ready to just amputate my legs. So I was crying. We didn't quite know what to do because I had my limit on pain meds, and while I would have pushed it a bit more, he wasn't brave enough. So anyway, hello Suzanne, hello Selena, Mrs. Dillagaff, hi Maureen, great deal. Thank you for posting about the chicken drumsticks. Maureen posted on Cheapskates Chatter, which is our Facebook group. Tasman Meats have chicken drumsticks for $2.50 a kilo, $2.99 a kilo, something. Mine's gone blank. It has been 5 days of frantic here, and I'll explain why in a minute. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Michelle, Aradia, Sylvia. Jane finally got herself organised to be on time. Daylight saving will end soon. Don't panic. Bobstar, Wild Woman, Utah, Evelyn. You know what throws me, Bobstar? We've got Queensland doesn't worry me. I know it's a straight hour behind us. South Australia is still half an hour behind us. Northern Territory, usually half an hour behind us, but with daylight saving, it's an hour and a half. I cannot get my head around that when I am thinking about talking to people in the NT. Just coddles my brain. It's a weird thing. Hello, Beverly. Fix your face. Well, whatever makes you feel good. Hello, Tegan and Melissa. Hello, Delaney. Guys, Delaney is our wonderful moderator. She keeps an eye on you all and makes sure you all play nice because I can't always be watching what goes on in chat. So please be kind to her tonight. That would be good. She does an amazing job. Annette, Jaka, Julie. Oh dear, Bobstar's starting to flood. That's no good. Hello, Estelle. Hello, Jenny. I am in the dark this evening. I'll explain about that in a little minute. Kylie. Catnaps. Selena gave me a thumbs up. Thank you, Selena. We've got 63 people watching now. So how about 63 thumbs up? I will be so excited. I might have to find something to give away. I hope I have a much better night tonight too, Jane, because I was a bit cranky today and someone happened to get in my way, which was a bit sad because they suffered. But anyway, they'll get over it, I'm sure. Hello, Wayne. Hello, Mary. Margarita. I love daylight saving. Still, I'm looking outside now because where I am, I can look to my right and see. It's beautiful. And it's still light, but it's like getting darker. I loved it when it was daylight at night, still daylight at 9 o'clock. No, I'm not saving electricity tonight, Catherine. Hello, Julia. Hello, Sheena. Yes, Catherine Kennedy, and she's picked it up. I got the notification that it's been picked up from the post office, so I hope she is giving it a really good workout. We had the dehydrator to give away for our 5,000 subscribers, and I drew it. Catherine Kennedy was the lucky winner of it, and I had so much. I was so excited. It was so good. So she's got it. Amber, hello. Oh, it's one of my, Amber's excited because tonight's topic's one of her favourites, one of mine too. I don't like dark mornings either. Absolutely not. I love in summer. Estelle says she hates dark mornings. Where'd it go? Where I live, I can be outside and see perfectly clearly in summer between 3:30 and 4, and that's with daylight saving. It's just beautiful because when it's cool, I like to be out pottering around in the garden. That's when I do it. It's so good. Kathleen's got her dehydrator going. I have this monster zucchini. It's that big to grate up and put in the dehydrator when I'm finished tonight, and it can go overnight. And Dawn says it's 3:30 a.m. where she is. You're either an early bird or a night owl, Dawn. But either way, I'm really glad you decided to watch. Welcome. Lots of people used to live at Humpty Doo. Humpty Doo must have been a very popular spot years ago. Hello, Vashti. And that is all. Okay, well, it's now 7:37, so I think if you're going to be here, you're here, and if not, you can catch up on the replay later if you need to. It's been a busy week here, as you can probably see from behind me, because I've moved rooms. How did this come about? Well, I had this bright idea that I wanted to do card making classes. So then I was trying to find somewhere suitable to do the card making classes, and frankly, nowhere around really fits my budget or makes it feasible for students to come for a card making class. So I thought about doing them here in our home, which I'm happy to do. I have done that before in the past. And then I thought, well, where am I going to do it? So with much umming and ahhing and discussion going on between all of us about what had to be moved where and how it was going to happen, we came to the decision that I would swap rooms. I traded places, and what was our family room is now my craft room, but it is not a family room anymore. It's become the train room. And the family room is now my craft room, but I have so much space. And so it is just wonderful, and I am loving it, but it's almost complete. There's just a few things to finish off, like unpacking all my stuff and lights. We are getting new lights in because they are dearly needed if I'm going to be working out here. And that should be done by the end of the week. But I'm really looking forward to being able to spread out and work away, because I have dedicated craft, sewing, cutting and filming spaces. So it feels quite luxurious for me so far. Best of all, I did break no spending month, but the only expense has been $15 for a cable management thingy. I don't know what it's called. It's this big long thing that all the cables go into and plug into one PowerPoint, and everything will run off it and be out of the way. And so that's making me really quite happy. That's why I'm in the dark. Ooh, who's got lemon drops? Ooh, I've just popped back to the comments. Tegan, oh my gosh, Tegan's made lemon rinds simmered in sugar. So she's done candied lemon rind, and they taste like lemon drop lollies. Orange is beautiful, and grapefruit is amazing. Just for something a bit different, if you want to do them, really, really nice. I was munching on dehydrated oranges just before, so I felt like it. Dawn wants to see others' pantries. You won't ever see my pantry, Dawn. I talk about it, but I don't ever show my pantry. That's more for it's a security thing. So that's why you won't ever see my pantry. And people that show their pantries on social media and spread them out there and then are really easy to find, it's not a safe and secure thing to do. By all means, talk about it, but don't actually show them, because there's so many people that go, I'm a visual learner, and if they just hear the words, they don't understand it. Yeah, Jane doesn't either. No, it's a really sad thing to say, but it's not safe. It's just not safe. Okay, so now today is the last day of summer. I'm not sure about where you are, but it's like the first day of winter here. It was quite cool today. It felt really weird after our 30 odd degrees, 35, 37, 38 degree days we had last week. And it's the last day of no spending month. So I'm wondering how you go. How did you all manage with no spending month? Were you able to build up your grocery slush funds so that you could pick up some deals? Were you able to build your pantry? Because that's what we're talking about tonight. Building our pantries. So is your pantry full? Or is it looking a bit sparse? Guys, now is not the time to let your pantry run down. Now, if you've been listening or watching the news today, you'll be aware that Scott's Transport, which is one of Australia's biggest road transport companies, has gone into receivership. I feel a bit sad about this. We have a connection. I feel a bit sad about this. On so many levels, I feel sad about this. And I was listening to some people talking about it, and what's the problem? It's only one company. Well, the problem is this particular company offers refrigerated and freezer transport. That means they deliver the cold and frozen foods to our 3 major supermarkets and a couple of the smaller independents, as well as other small businesses. And you might well be saying, okay, there are other companies that do that? Well, not really. How is this going to affect you? Well, right off the bat, at this point in time, it shouldn't cause any noticeable to customer problems. The receivers, the people who have taken over the running of the company, are keeping the trucks running and delivering. They've paid the subcontractors up to date, so that's really good. But that could stop at any time. Stroke of a pen, on a whim almost, that could stop. And that means those frozen foods we rely on, and some of the ones that we just plain like, could actually disappear quick smart. Now, this is no reason to race out and panic buy. And if you're a smart cheapskater, you won't be. But we're already seeing shortages of some frozen veggies and of frozen potato products, and even some frozen meals, depending on what you buy. So we don't need any more. It just causes stress. Who needs grocery shopping stress? So if your pantry's full and your stockpile's full, You actually don't need to panic. You don't need to worry. And no one really needs to panic because there is no reason to panic. But that's the immediate effect. There's also the trickle down from the 1,500 people who will be out of work. Because that's 1,500 people who won't have an income, who will be struggling to pay the bills, who won't be eating out or buying new clothes or going on holiday or throwing the kids' birthday party at the local play centre because they won't have the money. And so that will affect, I have no idea how many more people, 2-3 times more people, but that trickle down effect, it could easily double or triple the impact to Australians. And again, you might say, oh, well, it's like 4,500 people. What's that out of 26 million? But then when you take it for 4,500, what is it going to do to the 4,500 that stop, spending as much on small businesses or big businesses? It can be devastating. First off, it's going to affect the fuel depot that relies on selling so many litres of diesel a month. If they don't sell it, they don't earn the money, then they don't have the money to pay their employees, and so someone else could be out of a job. So when we think it's just one company and it's going to affect 1,500 people, but, that's sad, but 1,500 people, that's making light of what is an absolutely serious situation. Now, I decided to talk about this topic last week, or the week before actually, and swapped it around, and then woke up this morning to this news, and I thought, well, this is really timely because it ties in perfectly with why we should have a stockpile, why we need to keep our groceries, our pantries full. What I'm really hoping is that lots of the Australians that are affected by this, either on first level, second, third, whatever the trickle down is, I hope they're cheapskaters, whether they're Cheapskates Club members or not. And I hope they have well-stocked pantries and good stockpiles because they're going to need them. Now, if you are new to stockpiling and you don't have a fully stocked pantry, it's not too late to start and it's no need to panic. And I'm here to help you tonight. I'm going to tell you what I did, hopefully give you some tips that will give you the confidence to go ahead and build your pantry. Now, the first thing to do is know what you need and know what you use on a regular basis. Before you go racing out and start buying anything, you need to know what you use and what you need. Otherwise, you're just randomly buying stuff, and it will be like the toilet paper war of 2020 when people didn't need it. But my goodness, she's got 2 packets, I better have 3. Even if I've got 5 at home, doesn't matter. We don't need to do that. That's not what we want to do. You need to know what you're using, what you're eating, what you need regularly. So think about, what do you use every day? What do you use every week? What things do you use that are seasonal? Because some things, like for me, beetroot is seasonal. We only eat beetroot in spring and summer, a bit into autumn when the weather's warm. We don't eat it in winter, or not as much. So I don't need as much in winter. It's a seasonal thing. I don't buy as much in winter. They're the sort of things you need to know about, but they are the things that you need to keep as your pantry basics. The things that you use regularly. The flour, the sugar, the wheat bix, the peanut butter, the vegetable oil. If you use soy sauce, how often do you use it? That sort of thing. All those things. Tea, coffee, Milo, all those things. They will become your pantry basics. The things that should always be in your pantry. Now, my pantry basics will probably be different to yours or your friends, and that's okay. That's fine. They don't have to be the same because we eat differently, we cook differently. I use different toiletries and cleaning products. We have different eating likes. We don't have food allergies. Well, not severe food allergies that warrant I need to change what I buy so much. So everybody's pantry basics will be different. Now, over on our website, Cheapskates Club website, there is a list of pantry basics. It's a pretty extensive list because I keep a full pantry, guys. I do a lot of cooking and I do a lot of baking and I do a lot of preserving. So my pantry basics is quite extensive. But if you want to pop over after the show, not during the show, and have a look at it, it might give you an idea of what your pantry basics could be. But they really should be the things that you use and need all the time. So if you don't bake, you don't need a lot of flour. You don't need 50 kilos of flour if you're not baking. But you might eat a lot of rice. So 10 kilos of rice might only last you a couple of months. So you will need 30 or 40 kilos of rice. We're all a bit different. Okay, now reading on to my next note. Once you've done that, you can make your stockpile shopping list, because did you know you can have a stockpile shopping list? Well, you can, and you can base it on what you use, what you need. Now, the tricky bit is to work out how many of each thing you use over a pay period. Now, I'm saying a pay period because most people shop according to how they get paid. They get paid weekly, they shop weekly. They get paid fortnightly, they shop fortnightly. They get paid monthly, they shop monthly. Doing that is going to tell you how many of each thing you need to buy each shopping trip just to keep going. It's not going to build your pantry. I'm getting croaky. To build your pantry, you'll need to increase the number you buy. How do you do that without going broke, without spending more money, without going into debt? Well, the way I built our pantry and then the stockpile way back when I first started was I simply created a monthly shopping list. I actually created two. I have a summer list and a winter list. And it was monthly because I shopped monthly. And every month we'd load the kids into the car and we'd go to Jewel Food Barn, because Jewel was still around then, and Wayne would put the kids, the boys in the trolley, Hannah in the seat. I would have an empty trolley and we would do the shopping. And because money was so tight, I think I've told you this before, I had the prices. And that's how I started my price book. But I had the prices. I had my shopping list and I had the price last month, and I jotted down the price as I picked it off the shelf. I've jotted down the price on my shopping list. And if there was a difference, I put a little check mark next to it because I'd already added up how much that grocery list was going to cost me. And if it cost even 5 cents more, something had to go back because we did not even have that 5 cents to spare. So I was really, really careful with what I bought. But I bought everything on the list, whether we needed it or not, because some months, of course, we didn't use all of something. So it carried over to the next month. But the new items, they became the start of the stockpile. They were the backup items. Now, if you've got questions, I was going to say Wendy's a monthly shopper too, like monthly shopping. I was going to say, if you've got questions, put them in all capitals so they pop out and I will see them. 90 people watching, woo! Does that mean I've got 90 thumbs up? I can't tell from here. That would be so good, wouldn't it? Delaney says, try thinking about stockpiling in terms of buying the ingredients for a meal. For example, rice, dried mushrooms, dried peas, onion powder, UHT or stock powder equals risotto, and keep them together. You can do that. That's not so bad. Avocados don't do well in Melbourne, Wendy. Okay, all right. No, I can't see. All right, okay, back to my notes so I don't get sidetracked. Okay, now, back in 2014, when I started stockpiling seriously, and by seriously means I wanted to have more than a couple of months worth of backup, I used my monthly shopping list to work out how much of each thing we used in a year. So if I had 2 packets of Weet-Bix a month, that meant I needed 24 packets for the year, just for example. And I chose the year because I actually wanted to build our stockpile to hold a year's worth of food and toiletries and cleaning supplies for my family of 5. So once I'd done that, I knew what I needed, how much of each thing I needed. And when things came on sale or I found a great deal, I would buy them. The other thing I did that helped a lot was I started a stockpile budget within my grocery budget. And I added $5 a week just for stockpile items. So if tin tomatoes were on a really good deal at 50 cents a can, I could go and buy 10 cans and not worry about it. If, beans were on sale often they used to come on sale at Woolies for 80 cents a can, I could go and buy some and not worry about it affecting my grocery budget. I still stuck to my grocery shopping list. This was a separate thing within my grocery budget. That's going to confuse you, isn't it? Now, if that $5 didn't get spent, it would roll over and build up. I chose $5 because $5 a week was affordable for me at that time. Now, you can do this if you have some extra cash that you don't use. Use $5 or $10 or however much extra it is to build your pantry. The other thing I did, and we were talking about this for No Spending Month, is use the grocery slush fund, because sometimes the shopping list would be cheaper because something would be on special and I would have money left over. So that became what I call the slush fund. And I used my slush fund to build the pantry too. Now, it didn't get spent all the time. And if it didn't get spent, it stayed in the purse and just built up until there was a really good deal. And that may not have been on supermarket items. It might have been on something at the butcher, or it could have been boxes of peaches or apricots on a really good deal from the greengrocer. It meant that I could stock up and I never went over budget. Never. I never go over my grocery budget. I have the allocated amount and that's what we spend, but I make sure I spend it all every year. Now, if you're interested in the $5 a week, how it works, we actually have a $5 a week pantry challenge thread on the Cheapskates Club forum. So if you need inspiration or you have some inspiration to share, do it there on that thread. It's under the food and groceries category. Now, I need to reinforce this. It took me time to build the stockpile. It wasn't instant. I had to work at it. If I'd had the money back then to go and buy it all in one go, I probably would have, but we didn't have that much spare cash lying around. So it took me a long time to slowly build the stockpile to where I wanted it to be without spending any extra money or going into debt. And that was my goal, to do it without spending extra money or going into debt, because debt's a 4-letter word. We do not like that word. Now, once my stockpile was at the level I wanted it to be, for me, I stopped shopping other than fresh fruit and veg and dairy once a fortnight. And that's when I started once a year shopping. Because I love, love, love once a year shopping. And if things ever get back to what I call normal, I will most definitely go back to once a year shopping. I used to I had my lists, and I would hit the supermarket. I would go to Aldi, I would go to Coles. Between Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, with my lists, I would do big shops, bring it all home, put it all away, and that was it for the year. I did not have to set foot in another supermarket for 12 months. I could easily get the boys or Wayne or Hannah to pick up milk and two bananas or whatever it was on their way past the supermarket. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I would dearly love to be able to go back to doing that. Right now, with shelves being quite bare, I'm not prepared to let my stockpile run down. I want to keep it at that level. Now, the other thing I'd really like to add is within your pantry, stock up on tinned fruit and tinned vegetables. And I know that they're probably not the most popular things, but they're available. They're available. If frozen isn't available, fresh is too expensive, tinned or even dehydrated is not a bad option. So peas, corn, carrots, beans, all the different types of beans, green beans, kidney beans, white beans are all really handy to have on the shelf, and they're not that expensive. And I'm thinking that our UK cheapskates are finding that out now, if they weren't aware of it before, because I'm sure you've all heard the news and seen the stories about supermarkets in the UK restricting the amount of fresh produce they could buy. 3 things. Other supermarkets have none. Frozen stocks have disappeared. So, fresh fruit and veg, if they don't have it to grow, if they haven't grown it, it's actually quite an issue throughout the United Kingdom. It just makes having a small stock of tinned vegetables and fruits on hand a wise thing to do, a smart thing to do. Now, I keep corn and peas and beans and carrots, and I think you can get peas and carrots in a can, because I use them when we go camping too. So I rotate through them fairly quickly. You don't need to eat them all the time. You do need to eat them though. Don't keep them on the shelf for years and years and years just in case, as a backup. Rotate them, use them, put them into a soup or a stew or a casserole, put them into sausage rolls or pasties or whatever, but use them up, because you do need to use your stockpile and you need to rotate it. So first in is first out, and as you use something, put it on the shopping list to replace it. That way your stockpile is always going to be fresh, and it will always be at the level you want it to be. It will always be able to sustain you, to keep you as long as you want it to be. Now, I've chosen to have mine at a particular level. You might think she's a mad woman, crazy, completely off a rocker. Nobody needs to do that. and think that a month is plenty. It's a personal choice. It will depend on where you live, what your lifestyle is, what your income is, what your family situation is. It's a personal thing. To me, knowing that I can feed my family, keep us clean, keep our home clean, that's a really big thing. That's my security blanket. Knowing if I can do those things, I can cope with just about anything else that life throws at me. Now, on that note, and with, did I see it? Dawn. Here we go. Dawn said, so many think she's a bit nutters to have the amount in her cupboard just for one woman and a cat. Would they think you were nutters if you didn't have it and you were starving and had to knock on their door for food? No, they would think you were bone lazy, stupid, selfish, or whatever for not being smart enough to have food. So, no, you're not nutters. And I want to stress that. I really want to stress that. Dawn shouldn't feel bad about that. Nobody should. I want to reinforce that keeping your pantry full and keeping a stockpile to whatever level you want it to be at is not being greedy. It is not hoarding. It is not stupidity or anything other than being sensible and a good steward of your resources. And anyone that thinks that you are crazy or selfish or greedy or off your rocker or nutters, that's their problem. Because, you know, whether it's a transport company going out of business or a flood or a drought or a cyclone or sudden illness or sudden unemployment or a recession or a depression or a war or exorbitant fuel prices or rent prices or mortgage increases, knowing you can feed your family for a specific length of time without having to worry about grocery shopping, guys, that takes a lot of stress and worry away. A huge weight will lift off you. Back in 2014, when I first became ill, for me, knowing there was enough in the pantry for us to survive a while, and it was, you know, it just made being sick so much easier, because there were days I could not get out of bed. Knowing the freezer was full of meals ready to heat or thaw, cook and eat, food to make meals, it just made being sick so much easier. Our family life, well, it just moseyed along like it always had, or almost always had. And I was able to concentrate on treatment and getting well because I knew my family in our home was doing just fine. Nobody was hungry. House was clean. It was, you know, everything was just fine except that I was in bed. Now, we here in Australia, we haven't really felt the pain of the cheapskaters overseas. We've heard from Patricia in South Africa. She's told us how difficult things are there, how expensive things are, how there's shortages of just about everything, how crime is so bad because people are hungry. We've got US and Canadian members that tell us of shortages that seem bizarre because some areas have absolutely nothing while others look like they always have. Then there was a really weird egg shortage and all sorts of things happening. Now we've got the UK with fresh produce issues. Some cheapskaters are having trouble sourcing medications. We haven't really felt that here, but I think that we're about to start feeling that pain. And this transport company going down, interest rates going up, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I know Westpac said that we're going to get, 4 interest rate cuts in a row. That's Westpac speaking. That's not the RBA. We need to be smart and we need to prepare We don't need to be preppers, we need to be preparers. We need to prepare as best we can so we can maintain our lifestyles during times of trouble without the stress. And a good stockpile gives you wiggle room to do that. It can free up grocery money to use for other things if you need it to until you get your finances back under control. It will give you peace of mind knowing that you have time to figure out what you're going to do. Your babies won't be going to bed hungry. Your pets will still be fed. You'll still be able to do the washing because you've got soap and borax and washing soda to make Cheapskates washing powder. Life will just roll on and you will be able to roll with it. Now, way back when disaster struck, and I was first toying with this Cheapskates idea. On the surface, our lifestyle did not change. It did not change at all on the surface. And I can remember going to playgroup and one of the mums asking me what I was doing, what we were doing secretly, because she could not see any change in our lifestyle. She could not see that both of us being unemployed and with a new baby on the way and a half renovated house, she couldn't see how our lives had changed because we had the baby, we finished the renovations, and we still didn't have jobs. And that's because I became a cheapskate. So I started looking at things differently. And the one thing I looked at differently, because the one thing I had immediate control over, was the grocery bill. So that's when I started monthly shopping, and I did my monthly shopping list. I had the summer list and the winter list. And I bought the same things month after month after month. I got the milk delivered by the milkman. It was a little bit more expensive, but it meant I didn't have to drive into town because we were out of town. So I saved on fuel, and I wasn't tempted by the other things I would see in the supermarket. So on the surface, our lives did not change. They did a little bit, but most people didn't realise that we were making changes. We went to things like, instead of going out on a Friday night or a Saturday night with our friends and having babysitters, we were in a babysitting club, so it didn't cost us babysitting, but having babysitters, they came to our place and we barbecued or had casseroles or we did potlucks and everyone brought something and the kids played and the adults talked. And we didn't go out. Now, having it at our place worked perfectly for us because we did not have to drive anywhere. It wasn't costing us money in petrol. I only had $50 a fortnight for petrol money back then. I had to go a long way. We lived out of town. So I went to town once a week, and on that had to be a playgroup or CWA day, so that I would do everything, and it was a whole day trip in one loop. It's what we did. But on the surface, our friends did not know that we'd made these changes. It wasn't till I started talking about making muesli bars at playgroup instead of buying them and putting yogurt topping on them instead of buying them, because yogurt topped muesli bars were the in thing. I remember thinking, yuck. But anyway, kids liked them. So I looked up a recipe and I made muesli bars, and I sort of did this. There was a Kofa and yogurt and icing sugar type hard to make a hard topping. So it would be, and I made them. And I could make a whole tray for less than half the price of one bought packet. And the whole tray made 12. where you got 6 in a packet. Telling the mums at playgroup about this, that's how Cheapskates started. That's how I got to talking about these things. So you might think that people don't know how hard it is. Could be because you make it look easy. I don't think it's hard. Perhaps I've been doing it for so long that I haven't actually, it's become habit. It's ingrained into me now. But it's not difficult. The hard part, for me, the hard part was making the decision to get started. And then we were on such a tight budget that first 3 months of my monthly grocery shopping, that was really tough because I had $200 a month. Not $200.01, $200. And out of that, I had to buy our groceries for the month, which was all our groceries, plus the meat, plus the fruit and veg, and the milk. And I also had to buy the baby's medicine because our baby was sick. And I allowed myself 1 packet of disposable nappies, 1 small packet of disposable nappies a month that I bought from the chemist because they were always cheaper at the chemist. And I would save those up so that when we went away, which if we went away, it was usually to Wayne's parents or my parents. We didn't go anywhere else because we have free bed and board at Granny and Grandma's. I used the disposable nappies then. So it takes time, but you have to decide to do it. You can build your stockpile if you really want to. If you don't really want to and you just want to keep, a spare can of Vegemite, a jar of Vegemite on the shelf, that's fine. It's entirely up to you. I keep my stockpile because I don't want to not be able to feed my family. I keep my stockpile because I loathe paying more than I need to for groceries. I keep my stockpile because we've been in the situation where we have had no money. No money. And I don't want to ever be in that position again. So I keep a stockpile. It gives me peace of mind. It will give you peace of mind too. It takes a weight off your shoulders. Okay. Now, I'm just reading your comments, guys. Here's one. Here's Vash. She's got one. She's lost count of the number of times she's been able to bless other families in her faith community, new families with items she's only taken from her pantry or food storage. That's wonderful. That is really good because you've been able to do that. It's a double blessing. It's blessed you and it's blessed someone else. Hev says, here in the UK, a lot of folk are starting gardens. Yes, I've been reading on a revival of the Victory Gardens. Reading lots on that the last couple of weeks. Really, really interesting. We're coming into summer, so time to start digging, composting, looking for worms, planting those seeds. Dawn works for crafts, so she's got a lot put away. Well done. Okay, that's interesting. Aradia found it difficult to calculate what they needed, so she referred to the back of the packet for guidance. In that, so many serves per packet. All right, that's interesting. Okay. these days, my slush fund is just what we have left over. I don't do the $5 pantry building thing anymore because my pantry's built, my stockpile's built. But if you need to build your stockpile and you have $5 to spare, then using that $5 as your stockpile money will give you a boost. Depending on, you can't go over the $5, but you know, that will it'll give you a boost. And then once you've got your pantry built, you can move your $5 back to building your emergency fund or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't have the $5 in my grocery budget anymore. My grocery budget is my grocery budget. But that helped me a lot to give the stockpile a boost when it needed it and when I needed it. $300 for a whole lamb, really good. Australian Butcher had legs of lamb for $9.99 last week, which was really good. It was a huge price, really good price. We've actually got a full side of beef for $13.25 a kilo. Oh, that hurts. I was thinking the last time I bought it was $4. I close off my budget every year and start fresh. Why use the slush fund up every year? I close it off and start my grocery budget gets closed off so that my grocery budget is my grocery budget and I make sure I spend every cent of it for the year. My pantry is worth a lot more than what was spent, if that makes sense. Simply because a lot of it's bought on sale. If you can grow a lot in a very small space, especially if you use pots or bags or boxes, you don't need to grow in the ground. I'm sure you know all this, but you know, it's actually amazing how much you can grow in small spaces. I love square foot gardening. I do square foot gardening. It's wonderful. I've been doing it for years. It's my favorite way to grow stuff. Oh, Yvonne's been picking tomatoes for 3 months. I haven't. I've got some out there to pick. It's really, really good. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm still reading your comments. I'm way behind. Kathleen's just planted a winter crops. I haven't got that far yet, but I was looking this afternoon and thinking I'm going to have to start pulling things out. I really hate pulling out plants that are still producing, but if I don't, then I can't get the next lot in. Oh, I need 500 acres so I can have a decent garden and rotate it. Oy. And Sheena says this is the first year she's stockpiled canned veggies, including potatoes. Tin potatoes are so versatile. Now, I can my own potatoes these days. So good. So handy. I know they say that you can't, what's it? It's mash them or fry them. It was something ridiculous anyway, but I did and they worked out fine. But they are so handy to have on the shelf for a quick meal or to stretch a stew or a soup or a casserole. Oh, hi Tanya. She said she noticed beetroot, no beetroot in Coles yesterday. Really crazy. I was talking to Annabelle, and last week AJ was going out, and I asked him, he said, do you need anything, Mum? And I said, could you pick me up? And I forgot what it was. Something from Woolworths, because he was going past the Woolworths, and everyone knows my aversion to Woolies, and to go in and pick it up. And he came home and he said, I thought the shop was closing down, Mum. There was hardly anything in it. It was just like the freezers were empty, and that was really, really, he was quite shocked. He said, I've been telling you this for months, but he hadn't been in the supermarket, so he's actually quite surprised. There are lots of things missing, lots and lots of things missing. Tegan, would you consider doing a video on what recipes you use for camping? Oh, I could, I suppose. I'm about to start prepping meals for when we go to Birdsville in June and July. So I could. We pretty much eat the same as we do at home, but I vac seal more and freeze more and dehydrate more for camping. But yeah, I can try that. That would be a good one in the next week or so for coming up for Easter, when everyone's starting to go away, because that's our last big camping thing, isn't it? Easter. Yes, Selena, hoarding is a disorder. Jane, I'm the whack job in our family. You know, they think I'm all on my side. Well, no, the whole family thinks I'm a bit weird, but you know what? Maybe I am. Doesn't worry me anymore. There are some really good books available as ebooks, which are often free on Victory Gardens. If you do a search on, if you've got a Kindle or an ebook reader of some kind, or you download the Kindle app, you can often get really good books. We're going to do a show about garden books, weren't we? Okay. Really good. Free. If they're free, all you've got to do is download it. If you don't like it, you haven't lost anything. On Victory Gardens and, you know, Dig for Victory, the kitchen gardens, that sort of thing, which is really, really, they're really interesting. And a really good for motivation if you need it. Delaney's point is, and she says, a month's food under normal circumstances won't necessarily go as far if you're at home or hours in a day or week, especially if there's family or a house full of people at home. The other thing to think about is, why are you at home? If you are at home in a shell grit hits the fan situation, then chances are you will be working harder. You will be doing more physical labor, because you might be washing by hand, scrubbing clothes by hand, scrubbing floors by hand. You'll be doing more gardening because you need to grow food. So you'll be digging and weeding and composting and all that sort of thing. So you will need more calories too. On the other hand, if you stock ingredients, it is easier to stretch ingredients than it is to stretch complete meals or convenience type meals. So it's really easy to stretch a tin of beans and a jar of mince and a jar of tomatoes with rice or pasta or potatoes or something. Whereas if you have the stew ready made, it's not quite as easy to stretch. But it depends why you are living off your stockpile. But in a shell grit hits the fan situation, which could be the zombie apocalypse or, you know, a meteor attack or whatever, something exciting, because it won't be anything dull and deadly boring, you will be using more energy. you'll be using more energy, so you will need more calories, more kilojoules to give yourself that energy, which means that I'm going to get howled at this, but a little bit of sugar doesn't hurt. So keeping some empty calories in the form of chocolate or jelly babies or whatever on hand isn't such a bad thing, as long as you don't eat them all at once. Thank you, Estelle Dawns in the US. Don't forget the Dutch farmers that have been told not to farm. Yeah, it's hard. It does take a long time. It does take a long time to get to that point where you are satisfied, where you are content, and where you know you can control it. It takes a long time. It took me a very long time. Hello, Glennis. Cool. Kathleen's got an unexpected surplus of $400 in her grocery budget. Very, very good. Oops. Oh, guys, the power is terrible tonight. Or the internet's terrible tonight. Is it really slow? Okay. Maybe we should call it Cheapskates Nuts Club. Okay. Yep, that's really good. Yeah, we can't have roosters, and we can only have, I think here we can have 6 chickens, 6 hens. It's a bit of a pain, but not to worry. Delaney says no beetroot for a couple of months. I grew beetroot this last summer, so I grew them last year. Didn't do so well, but they've done all right this year. But we don't actually eat it pickled. We eat it roasted. I like to pick them when they're small and roast them. No, eggs are an issue, I think, everywhere, Krista. And they're getting really, even I'm complaining about the expensive eggs, and I've never complained about the expensive eggs because I think eggs, for what they are a very inexpensive form of protein. But even I'm starting to whinge about the price of eggs. Spiders, we have big spiders in Australia, Dawn. Yes, we do. Oh, cool. Was it good? Your dehydrated mints? How did you cope with the flies in Birdsville? I swore I was never going back, and here I am going back. The flies nearly drove me insane. But great, I am so glad that the mints work for you. It's really convenient, especially when you are traveling, isn't it? Dehydrating mints. If anyone's interested, there is, I think I've done a video on it, but also on our website, Cheapskates Club, put dehydrated mints in the search and it should come up for you. Really convenient to dehydrate mints. I will stress that it is not a recommended preserving method for mints. I can tell you we're still alive and I use it all the time. One of my vac-sealed bags landed on my foot this afternoon when I was scrunching around in the cupboard. It is so convenient. If you can get mince cheap and you want to make it shelf stable, dehydrating is a good way to go. If you're not into pressure canning, because that's the only other way to make it shelf stable, dehydrating is the way to go. Or freeze drying, but we don't have freeze dryers. I would love a freeze dryer, it just costs too much. Okay, all right, guys. I'm not doing a lot of. A livestock permit to keep chickens. No roosters. Yeah, we have no roosters, and we've got 6 birds. Teens on devices. That's funny, Kathleen. Thank you, Delaney. I thought it was just me, but everything's like, I don't know. I hope it's not too bad for you because it's really jerky here. It's like flickering and fluttering. Okay. Those big spiders can still pack quite a bite, Estelle. Might not kill you, but it hurts. What is a decent bonus? Woohoo! While listening, I just cut and froze about 5 kilos of bananas and made a massive banana cake. Woohoo! Homegrown bananas, and you don't waste them. No. Well done. Oh, bananas are really good. They haven't been too expensive here lately. I picked them up for $2.20 a kilo last week. Wayne was ecstatic because that's his favourite fruit. Yeah, flies in Birdsville. Absolutely. Anyone's great museum. Love the museum in Birdsville. Flies nearly drove me to distraction. And it was so funny because the friends we were traveling with, there's Chris and I. We had long sleeves on. It was still quite warm. We had long sleeves on, long pants on. I had shoes and socks on. And I had my hat on. And we called into the store and we got nets. We looked like, I don't know what we looked like we were going to drain honey from a beehive. Nets. And then we drove out to Big Red for sunset on Big Red, thinking the flies wouldn't be bad out there because there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. Oh my goodness. There's photos of us parked on the top of Big Red, and Darren put the lining of their tent up for us, and Chris and I are still with the hats and the nets on, sitting inside on our chairs in that zipped up with the flies buzzing around us. It was just hilarious. The flies were awful. It's a beautiful place, but the flies were just awful. I'm actually looking forward to going back. It's one of the reasons we live the Cheapskates way, so we can afford to do our travelling when we want to. Okay. Okay. I have no idea. There never used to be rules. When I was a little girl, Mum had dozens of chickens. We had a huge, and we lived in East Doncaster. We had a huge chicken run in the backyard and a big coop that Dad had built for them. And Mum must have had 25 chickens. And I don't think, well, if there was a rule about it, she obviously broke it. I don't know. Complaining neighbours, yeah. Okay. Yeah, see, I don't mind snakes, but I don't like spiders. I think that, you know, it's a way of having a limit on chickens is a way of control. Now, of course, there's always going to be someone that will go overboard and have, you know, 300 chickens on a eighth of an acre or something. But well, I think it's just a way of controlling. All right, guys, I've gone over time. I didn't mean to. Oh dear. All righty. I hope that I've encouraged you to build a stockpile, to at least get started if you're not already started. It would be, you know, just wonderful if you could just 1 or 2 things a week, 1 or 2 things extra. Or like, I've forgotten who it was that said, they started by buying the half price specials. So if cereal's half price, you buy 2. You were going to spend that money anyway, and you're 1 packet ahead without going over budget. But I really think that we need our pantries full. We don't need to panic and race out and buy anything we can get our hands on. That is just ridiculous. But we do need to be thoughtful about what we do. We need to be prudent and wise so that we fill our pantries within our budget with foods and toiletries, cleaning supplies that we need and use on a regular basis. It can be done. Okay, now, thank you for watching, staying with me all the way through. I am really, really happy that you have. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea how much I appreciate you taking the time to spend listening to me on a Tuesday night. It just bamboozles me as to why, because it's just me. But anyway, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber, and subscribing is free. All you've got to do is click that subscribe button and then the little bell next to it, and you can choose how often you want to be notified of when we go live or when I upload more videos. And now I have a dedicated videoing area. We might be getting some more videos on a more regular basis, which would be nice, wouldn't it? If you've got any questions I haven't answered after the show, put them in the comments below. I read every comment. If you have something to share, put it in the comments below. I read every comment. I do my best to answer your questions. It might take me till tomorrow to do it, but I do my best. And if you know anyone who might like this video or might like to know about Cheapskates Club, please use the share button to send them a link. And lastly, thumbs up. Please, thumbs up. Those thumbs up are really important. For some reason, YouTube likes them. And it just makes it easier for people to find us when they're searching amongst the gazillions of YouTubers out there. And of course, the easier it is for people to find us, the easier it is for us to spread the message that it is not only okay to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing, but it is absolutely possible even in today's crazy world. I will be back next week with another live show, and I might have to swap it around because Easter's coming up quick, and do the Easter cooking, the camp cooking. I'll have a think about it. But anyway, I will be back 7:30 next week. Until then, happy cheapskating and stay safe.